center off of Eckerly, and he just missed the net. O'Reilly with the shot, far down, he scored!
Come from behind for a month, now with the lead, they're getting a little wobbly. Philadelphia, they won't get it! Wow! Edwards pulls up and buries the play! Richardson tries, out for Robbie Ryan. Her three right on the money. Daniels takes his shot for Derby. Flag out.
What's going on, my Pitchfork Lunch peeps? Sorry, got rid of those. How are we doing today? Yes, we are rolling and still rolling. If you missed the first part, apologies. But anyway, neither here nor there. Let's get to it. It is hate weekend in baseball, guys. I am Michael Carcinino at Diablo00 on X, though. The artist formerly known as the Twitter, because you show live there every day, Monday through Friday, 12 to 1. Also, my IG, Michael.Carcinino.5. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Watch it live on YouTube, but subscribe to the YouTube channel. All you have to do is go to Amazon Michael, or it's Michael Carcinino, but it's Amazon Michael V's and Victory Season Champ 005 at MVC005 on YouTube, and subscribe, because you have missed a lot. And if you're watching right now, you're going to be very happy, because we will be talking to former women's hoops head coach Charli Turner-Thorne about the women's Final Four. So we will be talking to Coach Thorne very shortly. But yes, YouTube, subscribe. Also, the Casual Sports Radio Network, guys, you know you can listen live there too. You just have to go to www.ksrnaz.com. Page will open up, hit listen live, click play. There's Pitchfork Lunch. Casual E invited us over to the KSRN family, and it is the greatest internet radio station on the web. Also, subscribe to their socials if you want to keep up, but not just with ASU, as we do here on Pitchfork Lunch, but the Suns, the Diamondbacks, the Cardinals, the Mercury. Casual E has you covered. It is all there. So, yes, big weekend, like I was saying earlier in baseball, hate weekend, as that team from down south is up here. They're both ranked. Having an alum as a coach is always a great thing, because you can just always hear the tone in Coach Bloomquist's voice for his despising of that school down south, which, I mean, you would expect from a Sun Devil, but it'll be awesome. We are going to hit that too. Softball has a big weekend against Kansas, and they need to, start getting back in the win column after, again, a tough game against Oklahoma State. But, man, just stoked how Coach Bartlett has that team going. So, big weekend all around. Final Four. We're going to talk to Coach Thorne about that, Turner-Thorne about that, because she broadcast quite a few of these. And, we had saw Coach Miller's opening presser. She gave Coach a big shout out. So we'll talk about that too. But we are going to step aside real quick here on Pitchfork Lunch. And when we get back, Coach will be joining me here. And again, don't go too far because, man, she always made me look smarter. So, I appreciate that.
KSRN has an inside track on all things sports, with topics and opinions from former players and local personalities. Catch 15-year NFL veteran Ed Smith and Jay Adams on Easy Sports Talk every Saturday.
Unfortunately, with this back and these knees, I don't quite have that ability, or at least I use Ayukin.
For all things Arizona Cardinals, tune in Monday nights with Casual E and Sean McConnell.
Bird Gang, I know it's another tough loss, but keep encouraged. We miss you, BA.
And now you can exclusively listen to former Arizona Cardinal Jeremy Bridges on his show, JB and Benny Blue Review.
Exactly.
Don't be dumb.
Sending the message out to the world.
Always relay that message. Don't be dumb.
Yes, your guy, Benny Blue, comedian extraordinaire.
Exclusively on KSRN, Casual Sports Radio Network.
This is the sound of a racing heart. It's beating a little faster because it belongs to a young child. But this child isn't in the middle of a close soccer game or playing with her puppy in the yard. Her heart is racing because she's just been told she has to move foster homes again. Change a child's story. There's a child waiting for a volunteer like you. Learn how you can help at casaforchildren.org. This is the sound of...
Got a big painting project you've been putting off because you don't think you can afford it? Well, it's time to call the team at Customer First Solutions. Customer First is your one-stop shop for all home repairs, from full interior and exterior painting to handyman services, drywall repair, electrical, and plumbing. Customer First has the most competitive prices in the Valley. Your flat rate quote is based on the square footage of your home, and that includes wall repair. All Customer First technicians are licensed, bonded, and fully background checked for your assurance. Call or text Customer First Solutions at 480-877-0255 for your free quote. Customer First Solutions, where our customers and their homes are our first priority.
You are listening to the best internet radio station on the web, KSRN, Arizona.
Yes, thank you for those of you joining us on the Casual Sports Radio Network. You are in for a treat now as we have converviews here. We don't have interviews because I'm a Sun Devil. I'm a Cronkite alum. So it's a conversation and an interview at the same time. So since I'm innovative, I put the words together. But yes, we're going to get right to it. Joining me now, the former coach here at the wonderful Arizona State University, 528 career overall wins. Absolutely phenomenal. Joining me now, Charli Turner-Thorne. Coach, it is great to see you again. How are we doing? Thanks so much for jumping in.
My pleasure, Michael. I love what a Sun Devil you are. You are.
Hey, I said this.
Your wisdom and your insight also, but just the fact that you make no qualms about it, you're a Sun Devil.
Well, I said this to you, and obviously you went on to coach a lot of teams and were busy recruiting, but after you first got hired, you were one of the first for broadcasting I had to come over and talk to. And you've always said you remembered that, and I think you're very sweet, but you won a lot, so I would definitely not be offended. But, you got here, and yes, I definitely am always a Sun Devil through and through. Can't stand that team down south. I never will. But like you used to say, I can show them respect. I just don't have to like them whatsoever at all.
Right. And we joke that it's a good school. They get their degree and then they come back to civilization to get a job. Yeah. So anyway, we just focus on us. That's what we do. Yeah.
Exactly. But speaking of focusing on us, I saw you obviously Coach Miller's hiring, but let's get to the Final Four. You're obviously doing an awesome job broadcasting these 4 teams that are here. But I want to start with Connecticut and UConn. UConn and USC, that matchup that was, the Final Four. And again, no Juju Watkins, and get to her in a second. But just, man, the fight that obviously USC is a talented team outside of her. You don't get to be a number 1 seed, as you well know, with just one great player.
Right.
But just kind of your thoughts of that game and the fact that, again, I mean, you'll always be a coach, but the fact that Gino's still doing it and just keep rolling on.
Well, the cliche is sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. And I think, UConn got a little lucky that Juju was not available to play, and our hearts go out to her, of course. But yeah, USC they had the team, I thought UConn did a great job on Kiki, Irafen. And, she was an All-American, she's an All-American. She's a first-round draft pick. And, everybody else was pretty inexperienced around her, except for Rhea Marshall, who really stepped up and played well. But, those freshmen, I thought they kind of, they stepped up in the K-State game, but it was a whole nother thing to do it again against UConn. And I thought UConn just, had a good defensive game plan. I still think that game could have gone either way, depending on, how the ball bounces and how people played and who's making shots. Because SC had the defense also. But, it could just be UConn's year. I mean, Paige Beckers, gosh, there's no denying how special that young lady is. And, but they're not a super experienced team. So it'll be interesting. We have our Mercury, little ESPN, brackets. And I think, I don't know if we're going to talk about that, any predictions for tonight and but, I mean, UCLA, UConn. I'll go ahead and talk about it. Can I talk about it, Michael? I can't hear you. Am I supposed to be able to hear you?
Sorry. There we go. I was going to say, as coaches, I know better than to ask you when you're coaching for predictions, but now that you're an analyst, you can definitely predict. So,
right? Yeah. And a scout. I mean, I have seen all 4 of these teams in the Final Four multiple times in person. UCLA, UConn, Texas, and South Carolina. So, and a lot on just TV and stuff. But, if the first game up at 4 p.m., if anybody's tracking, will be Texas against South Carolina. And Texas actually got them, in the regular season. So that's going to be, and South Carolina hasn't been on all cylinders. So, but nobody knows how to get that team back, on all cylinders when it matters, than Dawn Staley. So, I mean, I probably would give South Carolina the edge just because I feel like they have more offensive firepower than Texas. Both are really good defensive teams. Texas might be the best defensive team in the nation, though. And you're muted again, Michael.
I was going to say that too. Texas defensively, absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
And I know people said, is this funny? Because when you're on top, as you know this, and yeah, not that they haven't been, but like, I guess the one small stigma with South Carolina coming in was, yes, Dawn Staley has a team, but offensively being consistent has been the issue, but not defensively. So when I look at the matchup like that, and plus Texas beat them this year,
right? Yeah,
they beat them once this year. So I mean, but what? Okay, you've been obviously an experienced coach. The players obviously have to make plays. And you mentioned obviously with UConn being a little bit younger too, but with South Carolina, who's quote unquote, has been at times inconsistent on offense, which a number one seed in saying that sounds crazy to me. But when you're Texas and having played them, what's the toughest part in your eyes for both coaches to not really, I mean, you can't change things up too much, but to maybe not overcoach and just play the game and make the minor adjustments?
Well, I mean, how often do you go to the Final Four and play a team in your conference? Not very. So, it's an easy scout. They're all like, okay, this is great. Usually you're scrambling and it's like, oh my gosh, you have not played the team before. So the fact that these two teams are very familiar with each other probably makes it a little bit more of a chess match, based on that last game. What adjustments are we going to make? What, where did we kind of excel? Where did we struggle? And I know, two amazing coaching staffs. So I think that they're going to be doing that. I couldn't tell you exactly what that looks like because I'm not looking at it that closely. But yeah, I mean, I think the when you're playing good pressure defensive teams, it's how to score. How to take care of the ball. South Carolina's got to deal with Texas's press. But that also might really ignite their transition game, and that's where they're their best. So we'll see. But I mean, Texas really just tries to get the 5-second count, steal the inbounds, and then they just retreat. So it's still a pain in the butt to play against. And you saw how many turnovers TCU had with just that kind of press. I think, again, I give the edge to Texas defensively. But Bull Wiley, wild card. I mean, Tess Johnson. I mean, they just have some serious scorers coming in. So it's good. I just think it could go either way. Coin toss, epic battle. I'm gonna, if I had to predict as an analyst, I'm gonna give the edge to South Carolina, probably if for no other reason but experience. We've been there and we've done this. Next game, UCLA, Connecticut. I think. I'm giving the edge to UCLA because they have it all, and it's kind of fun. These two teams haven't played each other, so I mean. Now, if, let's see, if South Carolina and UCLA advance, that's going to be a rematch. And UCLA got the best of them. So that's kind of some fun storylines too. But I think UCLA has just got too much. And I think they're going to be playing for the national championship. I mean, so much offense. And they have really good defense, which has kind of been a little bit up and down. But I can't imagine they're not going to be on all cylinders tonight. So my prediction is South Carolina and UCLA is who we're going to be watching at noon on Sunday. So,
wow. Yeah. See, the funny thing is, Coach, in my one bracket, like I actually had South Carolina and Texas, but I did go, and I guess maybe it was the old Pac-12 strings, but I had UCLA and USC facing off.
Yeah. I think a lot of people did. Right. Yeah, and that would have been, fourth matchup with them and pretty awesome. And I think, had Juju not gotten hurt, right. She, it's just like taking Paige off of Connecticut. Like right. It's just, not to say that USC doesn't have a ton of talent, but it's just, plus you've played with her all season. Now you take her out, there's adjusting going on.
And that's what I was going to say to you too, because getting to see her play live and in person in Tempe last year of the Pac-12. I mean, even as a freshman, and this because you broke it down. I remember saying this to you, like, yeah, she can score, yeah, she can do it, but she had her feel for the game as a freshman. And I remember when I said to you, I go, in my eyes, like, I'm not saying it's like experience like a 4-year senior, but she gets the ball moving. When she had a score, she did, and like. That is what I know people missed. And I mean, but Paige Beckers went through it too. I mean, she had to miss tournaments, because of injury. But for Juju, to me, that's a national player of the year. But where do you stand on just like her growth in the game? And I mean, again, I know it's not easy, but when players make it look that easy, especially in the day and age of transfer portal, to work with those new players that came in, it just seems seamless for her. And I mean, Lindsey Gottlieb's done a hell of a job, but yeah, man, and you look at the final score, to your point, I mean, a 14-point game, Juju definitely could have had more than 14 points.
Yeah. No, I mean, I thought her freshman year, really well said, Michael. I mean, her decision-making, unbelievable for a freshman who was getting doubled and, all sorts of attention as she, came in and just scored. I thought this year as a sophomore, so much pressure on her, to be that top scorer and do everything. I thought, she actually struggled a little bit more as a sophomore. And of course, everybody was so ready for her, probably even, that much more game planning for her and doubling and tripling. But she did eventually adjust in terms of getting the ball, when she draws to get the ball out of your hands, and kind of seeing, making good decisions in terms of, her finding space on the floor. I mean, the good defensive teams did not give Juju Watkins very much space. And that was hard because, USC ran everything through her, which, duh, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're going to do. And,
I could even coach that.
I give Kiki Irafen a ton of credit because after going for, superstar at Stanford coming in, she was kind of the Robin to Batman. And, and then there was all of a sudden all this pressure on her to now be her 40-point, self. And, but she's going to have an unbelievable, Kiki's going to have an unbelievable W career. And good thing about an ACL and the little bit I've kind of heard is I think it's really clean. So it'll be, sometimes if it's not clean, that gets problematic for athletes. But, and gosh, Paige Beckers, Dahina Paopao, Olivia Miles, who's not coming out this year, but like a lot of the best guards in the nation have come back from ACLs. So for everybody wondering if she's going to still be amazing, she is. It's a simple surgery. It's a long-term rehab, but, she'll be back and better than ever for sure.
Right.
Yeah. Want to talk about the new ASU coach?
Yeah. Well, before we get to that, I was going to say too, you mentioned, I wanted to wrap up on UCLA. Obviously, Corey Close, having competed against her pretty well. And like I said, again, not that you have like a rooting interest, but, all the years competing after you're in the position you're in now, because it kind of, you wouldn't be happy, but happy to see what Corey's done.
Fun fact, Michael, I need to interrupt you. I grew up in Bruin. Both my parents worked at UCLA.
That's right.
Retired from UCLA, 3-4 decades at UCLA. So I grew up on that campus. I grew up all things Bruin, hating the Trojans, by the way. And so, obviously, I was at Stanford, I was at Washington, then ASU. So when you go as a player and a coach, all that, disappears, but it's fun now. And I've actually said this to Corey and her coaching staff. It's fun to be able to cheer for them again because, my family, my mom, is big Bruin and we have Annie Myers Drysdale, here with the Mercury and the Suns and, she's a Bruin through and through. So I don't have to, hide that. No, I'm very happy for Corey because I do think she's done it the right way. And, when you're in this world, you kind of know who does it the right way and who doesn't. And I do feel like all the schools represented in the Final Four are just great coaches that work their butts off and do it the right way. So I love that. And I'm really happy for Corey. And, I think, and get this, Michael, only one senior on that team. Dukovic, who's a good player, is a good player, but this could be a little bit of a dynasty thing. So anyway, I am happy for the Bruins. I'll be super happy for them if they win it all.
I know. See, that's why exactly. I remember teasing you when you came into the radio station with your son, because I think Steve helped me out. I looked it up, but I'm like, wait, her parents are at UCLA and then she goes to Stanford. I'm like, man. And when you said that, I go, parents were Bruins. She was a Cardinal.
UCLA didn't want me.
Oh, well, then again,
so,
you know what?
There you go.
Hey, everybody's got different things, but they know.
I'm going to, in my own defense, Stanford was, for whatever reasons, my dream school. So,
It's beautiful. both of them are phenomenal campuses. Maybe not my heart as phenomenal as ASU, but some could argue with the scenery at UCLA and Stanford. I know I won't go too far in that argument, Coach. But yeah, let's talk about it. Coach Miller, started, kind of like you, you're playing, and all of a sudden you're a grad assistant, you're coaching. She coaches at her alma mater and does what she does at Grand Canyon the last 5 years. I mean, obviously my pitchfork lunchers, because I got quite a few messages that told when I said I saw you, they're like, is she going to come on and talk about it? We don't need to hear you talk about it. Everything's great. I said, anyway, but that being said, like, I mean, a 30-game win streak, Coach, I don't care at any level. That's ridiculous, the fact she did that this year. But just your kind of overall thoughts of like her coaching style. I mean, everybody always says, oh, energy. And I'm like, yes, I would hope a coach has energy, and you can feel it there. You can definitely feel it. But
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, no. And
the 30-game win streak, what's your thought on that?
Yeah, no, you just said it perfectly. I don't care what level you're at. I don't care where, high school, any level, college, pro. I mean, that's really, really hard to do. I also had an opportunity to do a couple of their broadcasts this year. So I did get up close and personal with Molly in terms of, her coaching and just who she is. Really good teacher of the game. So I love getting to go around and whether I'm scouting or I'm broadcasting, just get to watch other coaches, do what they do. And of course, I always have opinions, most of which I wouldn't share. But, with Molly, since you asked, she's just a really good teacher of the game and incredibly good defensive coach. I was so impressed. And of course, I tend to like people that pressure and, take things away.
Oh, yeah. Well, coach, I was teasing all my friends saying that when she said defense, I knew you were there. I looked over and I'm like, oh yeah, somebody was paying attention. When somebody's ears perked up, like that's the right answer.
Well, I mean, and everybody knows, like, why do you like defense? Because you like to win, so right. And so how you get that consistent, you play great defense and you limit teams to one shot and you play position defense without fouling, but yeah, just their rotations and everything. But I also was very impressed offensively with just how they played off of each other, how they made the extra pass. I mean, I'm watching some of the best teams in the nation come down, one pass jacket, come down and, and they're digging themselves this hole and there's no adjustments. And, so it's not easy to get players to be unselfish and, just really play well with each other. And Grand Canyon was actually really good at that this year. So it was really fun. And ASU is not an easy job. It's not. It's just, we have with women's basketball, you have great weather, every pro team ever invented, all the, our college men's basketball, football, like you compete with everything for fans, for your fan base. And there's just a lot of things that not a lot, but there's a few things that make it a little more challenging. And I think Molly's just got endless energy, understands it, putting together an elite staff. And obviously, they kind of need to get a new roster together, but I'm very excited for her. I definitely gonna support her, and trying to, help her in any little way I can right now, just get it going again.
Well, exactly. I mean, again, it's like I said, when coach obviously gets fired, or you see how a program might be struggling, or coach retires, it's tough. Because I had our good friend Jeff Metcalf on, but he still, don't worry, coach, he doesn't take my honey and put it out there, because I always say, there's this wonderful scout analyst, who coached here, who maybe if she wanted to come back, I'd do whatever. I'd do laundry for her, but he's always started laughing. He's like, well, you stop. But no, like I said, it's cool to see what she's done. And again, I mean, having coached at her alma mater early, and I was teasing Graham, coach, is that it's kind of funny because obviously in different sports, and I know you and I have had this conversation before, not that anybody that's played the sport can't make a good coach, but like I played soccer, I still think goalies, because how they're in calling the game out, especially defensively, but watching the field develop, make the best head coaches as you get to the higher level. Setters in volleyball, obviously, I don't know, guards in basketball. I'm like, there's two guards that are, guards, point guards that like just, they become head coaches. And I told Graham, I said, so is that, I go, oh, was that kind of a thing on the checklist? Like maybe make a point guard the coach, because they're the general. They see everything on the floor.
Interesting. Okay. What did he say?
Well, he goes, yeah, the whole guard youth thing, he goes, it does exist there. So Graham's been awesome. I mean, and you've seen what he's done from, the outside, and when you take over, and, you and I told people on the show, like you and I have had conversations, like it's tough to run obviously to be an athletic director and as everything changes and some things like we've both said become the Wild West and other things like the landscape's changing.
Yeah.
But man, I mean, Graham, you talk about energy, dives in and they just extended Coach Van Neal in volleyball. Well, sorry, I should address them properly. The reigning Big 12 champion women's volleyball team. I get a kick out of that on here because I remind people all the time, especially from the school down south. But yeah, they just extended JJ and just Graham's energy and he said getting to see Molly obviously coach against ASU and not just because she was here locally, it's right. It's the right fit and what he's done. Your kind of thoughts. I guess kind of in the middle, being on the outside, but knowing the inside, just what Graham's done and, bringing these coaches in and creating, like you always say as coaches, that kind of community, but family atmosphere.
Graham is a rock star. I've known Graham Rosini since he was Pat Murphy's ops guy, running around Packard, taking care of everything. And he's just an amazing person. And I remember Murph telling me when we hired him back to ASU from the Diamondbacks, it's like, Charlie, he is going to be an unbelievable AD. And I'm so grateful that he stuck it out at ASU because I think he had opportunities where he could have gone, and been an AD somewhere else. But he's a Sun Devil, through and through, and he was patient. And for all the listeners out there, I'm telling you, he is a really good leader. That department is more connected right now and more supportive of each other than I think it's been in a really long time. That's the word I hear from the coaches. And just got a really good feel. And, he had a hand in Dillingham. He had a hand in JJ, and now he's hired Molly. So I think pretty good track record so far with and that's a big part of an AD's job. But I just think, it's talk about needing endless energy in this climate in college sports, dealing with, how you're going to have enough money and just everything. Graham, and he understands the business side, and he really cares about the athletes and the coaches. So super excited for him and for ASU.
Yes, and I will say this: he's been kind enough to come on this show. My little time pitchfork lunch, which is growing and growing, coach, is getting there.
He better know how important you are, Michael. But no, but you are he'll whatever media outlets invite him, he's working, and that's what we need from our athletic director. So it's great.
Yeah, let me ask you this too, lastly, because like you say, from but a recruiting standpoint, I've talked to the coaches, and I know, like I said in the beginning, when an alum coach wins something, it's kind of I asked Coach Powers, and he's like, yeah, he goes, of course coaches want to win, but when you're an alum, it means that much little more inside of the accomplishment. But when the athletic program, how much more fun for you was recruiting when a lot of more sports are having this success, they're competing. How much of an advantage is that when you get players, even though it could be a different sport, but basketball players come on campus?
No, I think it helps. It all helps. And through most of my years at ASU, we were top 15 in the nation. At one point, we were the number one athletic department in the nation when Lisa Love was here. And, you say you come to ASU, you're going to be, just meeting and making friends with Olympians and, with All-Americans and, future pros. And it's just a very, very elite environment. And it always has been. And, the pandemic was tough and, things have shifted a little bit, but, it just feels like this right now. And, we've just dipped a little bit, but, I think it's trending the way we're used to it being, which is because we are, I always recruited on that we were one of the top athletic departments in the country. And the important thing about that is it means your administration cares. And, you're not getting to Final Fours if your administration doesn't care.
Yep. No, absolutely well said. And again, you have too much to do in your day, but yeah, we could do a 2-3 hour show. But coach, I know I said this last year, but next year, again, getting stuff together, I aim to get to call a game with you. That is a goal.
Let's do it, Michael. Let's do it.
We'll talk throughout the Mercury season. But yes, I definitely am going to get there. I haven't called other stuff, and I keep saying, I'm like, man, I want to call a game with coach because literally, with as smart as you are, like I said, I told you I work with smart coaches. It's all about you, man. I direct the ship a little bit, but
okay. If you're going to set me up the whole game, I'll definitely work with you. No, I'm just kidding. No, you know the game too. All right, we're gonna work on that. But thanks, Michael.
Yes.
Thanks for having me on, and go Devils.
Absolutely. She is Charli Turner-Thorne, over 500 wins as a coach. Absolutely phenomenal. Coach, again, yes, thank you. And we will catch up soon, but I greatly, I always appreciate you coming on.
My pleasure. Thanks, Michael. You're the best.
Oh, she's too kind. Too kind right there. That is Charli Turner-Thorne. Again, the landscape of college, as we know, transfer portal, NIL, everything, whatever you want to say. But energy is key. Connecting is key, as we hear from all the coaches, but Coach Dillingham is about being real and all that. So, guys, we're going to wrap up on this. It is hate week. It is hate weekend, I should say. I should definitely say it is hate weekend. And the Devils play the team down south in baseball at 6:30 this evening at Phoenix Muni. Get out there early. It is going to be crowded. And 6:30 tonight, 6:30 tomorrow night, and 5 p.m. Little twilight game there, I guess you could say, on Sunday. Since again, they just have to go back down to Tucson, so they don't have to play, noon or 1. Makes it, a little bit more fun. But yes, a little early evening, matchup there. But guys, I mean, look, Arizona. The one time I will say that, like Coach said, respect. They are. Let's see. Record-wise, they are 20-8 overall. I don't want to give them credit for too much. I almost gave them credit for too many wins, guys, and I know you would not forgive me for that. They're 20-8 overall, 6-3 in conference play. They're 15-2 at home, just like ASU, defending the home field, and 3-2 away. Yes, they are coming off. Actually, they just fell to Grand Canyon 11-5 on Tuesday, and that was at GCU on the road. So yeah, they played on Tuesday, and then they're back up here now this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Like I said, 6:30, and 5. But yeah, they are 20-8, like I said, and yeah, they're gonna be a little. Maybe they were looking ahead. I don't know. Grand Canyon's always had pretty good teams, as we know. So that. I mean, you look at, batting wise, Brendan Summerhill, guys, I've been keeping up, but he is batting .409 with 2 home runs, and 24 RBIs. He's got 5 doubles, 6 triples. This young man has as well too. Then you got Aaron Walton at 356, Mason White at 328, Adonis Guzman at 319, and then Garen Caulfield is at 303. So again, a lineup that, like I said, you don't win 20 games without it. And pitching wise, I'm guessing probably see Casey Hines on the mound, I'm guessing. Tonight, I don't, again, we shall see. We shall see. But that's, again, who they are taking on. Again, 20-8. And the Devils, as you know, 20-9. They've won 4 in a row, as we know, sweeping Utah and then turn around and beating Fullerton. But they're 14-5 at home. Like I said, 6-4 away. So, but Coach Bloomquist, I mean, again, it is this team, again, the pitching, guys, I mean, we'll see, guess we'll see Ben Jacobs tonight in the Friday night starter. So we'll see what Jacobs has tonight. But this young man, again, has been on. But this whole staff, I mean, you look at the strings he's pulled, He's working, innings like, Cole Carlone, Wyatt Halverson, Jonah Giblin, Derek Schiefer, Jaden Alba, and then Will Koger. Like, I mean, it's just, again, Sean Fitzpatrick as well. And then Josh Butler, again, so many options, so very talented and awesome. And guys, all weekend long, like I said, I will be out there. That's right. Look at that. There's low tone. That's right. No pity. Homer show or not, like I said, like with Coach Thorne, respect. You can always respect, but at the same time, I'm just saying, it's going to be huge. And this batting lineup, I mean, Kyle Walker going to the top guys. I mean, again, at 9, and Coach, we've heard Coach say, like, he didn't believe me when he was batting 083, which is crazy because now he's at 369. Yeah, Kyle Walker, 379. Yeah, he's at 379. That's right. He was 2 for 3 the other night, I think, with a walk. Yeah, so 379. Matt King's at 352. Landon Harrison had a hell of against Fullerton, but I mean, just in general, has been rolling. He's at 343. Jacob Bice at 325. Brandon Compton at 306. New Contratus also at 306. Isaiah Jackson at 288, getting there. Kean Vu, he's at 338, but again, he missed some time. But again, we'll should see him in the lineup, guys, which is huge. Again, just these bats and everything. Like, you cannot be obviously, but not excited. And yeah, I mean, it's adjustments. Again, patiently aggressive, aggressively patient. However you want to look at it, you got to get your pitches. And it's funny because Tobias and Compton, I mean, Brandon Compton, not really getting, if they do pitch to him and he gets a hit, I mean, if he hits a home run, but the next few at bats, basically trying to get him to chase, and he shows that patience. And I got to think, again, as a competitor, I know it would drive me crazy, but get on base, and that's what they do. And pitching wise, I mean, it's just, whew. I mean, the lab that we talked about since since the fall, actually, they for the pitchers and what Jeremy Accardo, I mean, coming in his first year has done, and then you see I mean, these pitchers talking about it. Again, it gets to a point where, and that's why I asked Coach Accardo if you pitch 4 clunkers, remember, again, when you had some availability, but the balance of, yes, being prepared, but not overthinking, more so the lab to, yes, you got to think about it, but making it become muscle memory. So that being said, it's again, you can see it and it's working. Yeah, I mean, look, it's college baseball. Just like ASU gets hits and puts up runs, other teams will, yes, do that. Don't worry. No, I'm saying it, but no torpedo bats in college baseball. And yes, it's a great way to talk about it. That'll die down. Hey, so yes, but I cannot. So stoked for this series, and softball as well this weekend. They will be taking on Kansas at Farrington, looking to get back in that win column. Oh, low tone. I love it. I love it. That's an audio staff at Muni. Yeah. I mean, they could drop it. They might wait maybe after Saturday night if you win, tonight, tomorrow night. Well, I have to say it, but I believe they'll win. You win the series. You already won the series. Yeah, you don't play that. And then if you sweep, you can definitely play it again. I'm with you on that, low tone. Yeah, I mean, look, what Coach Accardo's done, and I mean, like I said, pitchers and the guys that came back. I mean, obviously, and Isaiah Jackson. I mean, defensively, like this team defensively making the plays, having New Contrada, the coach talked about that. I mentioned that many times back at third and just making the tough plays look easy. So either way, it is going to be phenomenal this weekend, 6:30 tonight. Look out for the updates at Diablo00 on X, the artist formerly known as the Twitter. Yes, you can also see the Pitchfork Lunch live there every day, Monday through Friday, 12 to 1. My IG, michael.caratuito.5, as you guys all know. Also, the YouTube channel, you can watch live on YouTube, and it's at M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C as in Champ, 005, at MVC005 on YouTube, so subscribe to that. And the Casual Sports Radio Network, big shout out to everybody, to Casual E, but everybody listening on the KSRN. Again, man, hit me up. You know how to get a hold of me. So have a phenomenal weekend. No pity for the kitty. I will see you Monday, same bad time, same bad channel. Like I said, no pity for the kitty. And hashtag our state. Thank you to reigning Big 12 champs women's volleyball for that. And as always, you guys have a phenomenal weekend. And forks up.
I went to Arizona State. Right. I'm a Sun Devil, man.
27-yard line. That's a great call, too. Blake Baker, Plummer will put it up, throws over the middle. Touchdown. Quick flag.
That's away. Trying to center off to Eckerly, and he just missed the net. O'Reilly with the shot. Far down, he scored.
Come from behind for a month. Now with the lead, they're getting a little wobbly. But